Let's listen to Nigel's engine now as he approaches the Toyota turn, turn 1. Bobby, you've got a tuned ear. Can you hear it?
Well, Paul, he's definitely down a cylinder, and the engine has probably dropped a valve, just hasn't gone through a piston or into the water. It's really running bad. He has no power.
Nigel Mansell's fallen to 6th place.
Yeah, back to 6th, where you don't score a lot of points.
At the front of the field, it remains Paul Tracy with Mario Andretti now in pursuit. But let's not forget 2 weeks ago at Phoenix.
Now, Nigel will stay in. There's nothing left to do. They've probably already done a lot of damage to the engine. He'll just stay in as long as he can finish the best that he can finish.
You got a glimpse of Mario Andretti. Now Bobby Rahal making a move on Raul Boesel. This is a battle for 3rd place. He can't get past him there in the first corner. Andretti chasing Paul Tracy. He's 2.5 seconds back from Tracy.
This is turning into an outstanding performance for Rahal. I don't think as the race began he could have hoped to do this well. Suddenly, as you said, he's menacing for 3rd.
And Paul Tracy's average is climbing steadily as we continue to watch this battle with Rahal and Raul Boesel for 3rd place. Despite 2 full course cautions, the average speed of the race is 91.247 miles an hour. The record is 91.945. So Tracy may be running on a race record here very shortly.
Boy, you can watch right there. They came off of the hairpin turn. There's Rahal. We're on board with Boesel right ahead of him. And look at the way Boesel jumped ahead, getting off. Now we're in the drafting with Boesel. Here's Rahal going to the inside. He can't even get close enough to try a pass on Boesel there. Not enough straightaway speed.
Rahal's car, of course, is the True Sports car from last year. His team, along with Carl Hogan, has taken over the development of that car, and they are now seeing basically the best performance it's ever had right now.
So that battle continues. Paul Tracy continues to run about 2 seconds ahead of 2nd place Mario Andretti. So now with 87 laps complete, Paul Tracy may have his first win. Back at the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach, we continue to watch this battle now led by Boesel around Rahal. And Boesel sits in 3rd place. Mario Andretti just ahead of them in 2nd. Paul Tracy leads it. But that brings up an issue of fuel and Paul Tracy's last stop. Paul Tracy stopped 29 laps ago. Bobby, what do you think? Can he make it to the finish?
Paul, according to my figures, he would have to get too good a gas mileage. Well, look at Rahal working Boesel there. But according to my figures, he can't make it. Now, if he's got enough speed where he can short shift the thing and turn the boost back, which it doesn't appear that he would have, I just don't see how he's going to make it.
Well, Jack Arute is a little closer to that situation being in the Penske pit. Jack, what do you think?
Well, Paul, right from the beginning, when he had that shredded tire, they determined that the only way that Paul Tracy could win the race was in order to stay out as long as possible. They have told me they are not going to pit again. They feel that they stockpiled enough fuel early on that they can go the distance. Now remember, in Australia, it was Emerson Fittipaldi's teammate who was in a similar position trying to chase down Nigel Mansell. They only discovered after Mansell ran out of fuel that they had 4 gallons of fuel left in the tank, left in the car itself. They have gone to work since then. They changed computer chips for readout. They're much more accurate now in terms of fuel consumption. They are very confident behind me that they will not be back in the pits again today.
And you do have to remember, too, that the Penske team had 2 cars damaged at Phoenix. They've spent almost the entire time, in fact, all of the time since then, rebuilding cars, cannibalizing one from the other, just to come here with 3 machines. So they haven't had a whole lot of time to address their readout problems that they suffered on fuel early in the year.
Yes, and also remember their telemetry wasn't working right in Australia, but it's working good now. So they're seeing in the pits what Tracy's doing. Tracy doesn't really have to know it.
Lap leaders thus far in the race, Mansell early on, then Tracy, powerful after that. And look at Tracy to the lead now here on the 92nd lap, 105 laps the scheduled distance.
If Tracy, of course, has to pit or runs out of fuel right at the end, that, as things are going right now, hands the win to Mario Andretti, duplicating what happened in Phoenix 2 weeks ago. That makes this battle currently for 3rd, a battle for 2nd, and it looks as if Rahal has just swept into that position. It's 3rd now. It would be 2nd were Tracy to run into trouble.
Rahal under and around Boesel picks up third place for the moment. But as Sam suggests, if Tracy is in fuel problems and has to come in, he only has 4 seconds on second place Mario Andretti. He can't possibly get in and out in that 4 seconds. And that would hand the race over to Mario as the leader.
Remember, Ray Hall is the defending national champion, IndyCar champion. He was second in this race last year en route to his championship. He did not appear to be a strong contender at the beginning of this race, having qualified back in midfield. He has come through, avoiding quite a few incidents along the way. He's been very close to trouble, but has not struck trouble. And right now, he is giving his team its best performance of the year by far.
You know, he's one of the cars, or they're one of the groups that have got their car working a lot better on race day. They weren't this good yesterday or the day before. The Ray Hall's got the car figured out a little bit better than it was before.
And remember, it's the only car of its kind in the race. And of course, what the opposition has to fear is that Ray Hall's team, especially if they improve on this car with their car they're bringing out at the middle of the season, if they have a really good piece there, they're the only one that has it.
Sam, it's the only American-made car in the race.
And that, in fact, is what both Carl Hogan and Bobby Rahal, the two owners, are quite proud of, and something they want to continue. They're also hoping to make their hometown of Columbus, Ohio, kind of a center for motorsports. Car off the edge of the course, and it is Mario. Mario Andretti sits off the edge of the course. He was running in second. His daughter, Barbie, disappointed. Mario was going for 2 in a row. We have no idea why he's sitting by the edge of the course with the engine shut off. Could it be fuel? Not likely. 21 laps ago was his last stop.
Now, obviously, it's going to be some sort of a power, either the engine or the powertrain, because it just quit completely, and he didn't coast very far with it, Paul.
Mario waiting for assistance from the course marshals. Gary Gerald, you're in that pit. Can you give us an update?
Well, the one word we heard, they believe it's electrical, Paul, and it looks like it's a terminal problem, and the man who was leading the points chase trying to get 2 in a row sits on the side.
And Carl Hogan now has that information. Obviously, they're discussing the fact that they think Paul Tracy's going to have to stop. And if he does, then that will turn the lead of the race over to Bobby Rahal. Let's go back to Jack Arute. Jack?
Well, Paul, when they heard what happened there, they radioed to Bobby Rahal, take it easy on fuel. They don't believe what we're hearing from the Penske pit. They think that Tracy is going to have to pit one more time. They want to make this an economy run and maybe go to victory lane.
Well, also, Jack, Rahal is 14 seconds back, so there's probably very little chance, no matter how hard he went, that he could close that gap on Tracy. So they're doing tactically the superior thing right now.
But that interval, Jack, is not the key interval. As you see him on the straightaway, you'll notice that Boiselle is only 2 seconds back from Rahal, so there's still a battle developing there. Jack, back to you.
Also, Paul, add to the fact that before that last incident, they were having a problem with their radios, they being Bobby Rahal and Carl Hogan. Someone had left a key depressed, and they couldn't talk back and forth. In all the excitement about Andretti, they got the key fixed, and they were able to talk.
So some luck turning Bobby Rahal's way. But Paul Tracy's still in control of this race.
Rahal talks very little, though, on the radio. Obviously, there are critical information exchanged between him and the crew, but he is not one of the real talkers on the radio.
Well, you know, we still don't know who's going to win this race, whether it's going to be Paul Tracy or Bobby Rahal or either one. This has been the most unpredictable race I've seen in a long time. But some of these cars, this one right here, Bobby Rahal, this is the one that may run out of fuel right there. But Bobby Rahal has certainly got his car working a lot better.
Now with just 8 laps to go in the run, there is Bobby Rahal as he heads down to turn 1, the Toyota turn. And Paul Tracy has picked up the average above the track record. You see the closing rate between Rahal.
Well, you can tell that Tracy has cut back on his power or the fuel that he's using as much as possible. But here's the guy, Roger Penske, that is really the thinker in the team.
Running at an average record speed at 92.416 miles an hour, with Bobby Rahal in pursuit of Paul Tracy. And Raul Boiselle is chasing Rahal. We've got a great race here.